Okay, first things first. How does this bird cast spells? It doesn't even have a tongue that can actually say anything.
You can see the tongue, man.
It's not a good tongue.
Caw.
Yeah. Oh, good. You said caw. You don't get to
He
cast
speaks
fireball with
common
caw.
and 5 other languages. I think he can talk.
Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons and Dragons fix between your sessions. I'm Kevin Hody.
I'm Jared Bornable.
And I'm Will Melton.
You're the worst. And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. In this episode, we'll be looking at the Bard-sorcerer multiclass and then diving into the Nagpa from Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. Tome of Foes! That only makes sense if you listen to the last episode. I hope you listened. So grab a chair and listen up. All right, yeah, I'm just keeping the intro.
All right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It was a good intro.
Yes.
You did a good job,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
The way we could
You
top
guys are the
that.
worst.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. You know the drill. First thoughts on Bard-sorcerer. I'll go first. So we have 2 full casters, and they use the same spell casting ability, Charisma. Already off to a great start. We've had so many in this past couple weeks here where it's like no stats mesh together, and now they just mesh together too well. So I'm very happy to start. Kevin.
This is the first one. This is episode 7. The previous 6 were all ridiculous combinations of stats. This is the first one where it's literally one stat that needs to line up, and it is the main stat for both classes. Just from that, I'm saying this wins Monsters and Multiclass. Like, I'm just happy. I don't care. It's good. Do it.
Can you play a hooray sound effect? The,
Hooray!
the grunt birthday party skull one.
Hooray!
Yeah, I never hooked up sound effects.
Oh, god damn it.
I have the cable to do it from my phone. I just never took the time to figure it out. It doesn't really seem to fit
No,
us.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I hate sound effects.
Yeah.
Unless we're making them with our mouths. Will, give me a boo.
Boo.
Give me a spooky boo.
Moo.
See, we got this covered.
All right.
I'm a professional. All right, so yeah, my turn. You're both wrong. This is boring, and I'm already bored. It just works. We don't have to do the rigmarole of making up stuff and breaking our brains, ruining the flavor of a class, and fixing it, and then ruining it again. This is an abomination to the original spirit of this podcast, and I'm upset.
Okay, well, that's one way to go about it. But RP-wise, what do you got?
It's fine. It's whatever.
It's just
like,
whatever.
all right, what do you do? I'm fucking magic, and I like to play a lute.
All right,
It
so let's
makes
not
sense.
be lazy about it. Let's find a way to take in the kind of as-written fluff of the bard and combine it with the as-written fluff of the sorcerer. So I actually played a bard-sorcerer.
For
a
like 2
bit.
levels?
Yeah, it was mainly bard. Around level 11, multi-classed into a sorcerer. I did the wild magic route, where he came in contact with some sort of crazy strong, unstable magical presence, and some of it absorbed into him, and now all of a sudden it gave him some additional powers, but he was also now a bit unstable, which gelled with the wild magic. So that's a good way to do it. An easy way to do it at really any point in time. It's almost kind of like a given. It almost seems too obvious, but it works
Right.
very well.
Which makes me think the other way around kind of brings up a more interesting point, starting as a sorcerer and then going into a bard. So I really like the idea of a rebellious teenager turning to music, is my first thought. Like, the parents are like, oh, you've got all these magical powers, you're going to do great things. And he's like, I want to rock. So
We're going to be taken out for copyright violation. Careful there,
shit.
but
They're bad about that one.
Yeah, let me take
Any other song. I enjoy rocking.
I'm sure you're fine.
I don't think I even did
Myself would like to continue to rock.
Damn it.
it,
Okay.
Kevin.
So yeah, I mean that's the first thing that I'm thinking is maybe just like, you've got all these great things going for you where you could be the greatest sorcerer in the world, and you're like, but I want to play music, and the only thing that kind of turns against that, it's like, I don't want to cast spells, I want to play music and cast spells. So it goes down the same path.
Yeah.
And then it also is, if you're rejecting it, then you shouldn't be leveling up as a sorcerer. So, wow, I already hate this idea.
Yeah, no, we always go to that thing. It's like, oh, I'm rejecting my... No, let's just go with, he really liked music. And
Yeah.
while he
Yeah.
respected his parents' sorcerer's origins, He really wanted to be an entertainer. And a lot of the flavor of the Bard comes from the magic. The magic's the magic, but it's
Inside you and
it's
the friends
inside
you
you
make
and
along
expressed with music and sound.
the way. Right.
So, as a sorcerer, it's like, oh, I've got magical energy flowing through me. Now I can let it out with my guitar.
Right. It's basically them finding their creative expression. So that actually would be kind of interesting. It's like leveling up as a sorcerer, you're getting a couple levels in and you finally are just like, I don't understand myself. Like you're tormented on the inside because you've got this magical power that you just never really understood and you let it out through song. It's beautiful.
Sure. Actually, yeah, that could be a fun character.
Yeah.
To kind of develop that and explore. It's
Right.
picking up a creative outlet when you've never had one.
Right.
As
Exactly.
an adult. Yeah.
And then you also learn how to play guitar in real life and your father's not disappointed in you anymore.
Because he never really expected anything of you in the first place.
I don't think learning to play guitar is what's going to get your father not disappointed in you.
Wow. We have different dads.
We do, yeah.
My dad thinks that guitar is a sin.
Okay.
So
So
other character concepts, you could do the Shadow Sorcerer, and then don't do the sing-songy bard. Do like the Master Orator, the poets, the
the edgy.
and then
Bard.
play Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah, that could be cool. I like that.
Part Edgar Allan Poe, part illusionist.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of go hand in hand, right? Edgar Allan Poe
and
loved magic.
there's a lot written about Edgar Allan Poe, who he was, like his personality, his character, and I mean, he obviously had a whole lot of problems to play.
He was a
to try
depressive
and,
drunk.
Yes, he's had a whole lot of problems to try and bring that into and play a character based off of it in a D&D campaign. I think could be an interesting challenge, make for an interesting character.
Yeah.
Hopefully, have happier ending.
No.
No, die on the street,
Okay,
penniless and alone.
I don't think he was penniless.
Oh, he was. They stole his clothes. They forced him to vote. And then they left him to die.
What?
That's how he died, man.
I know he was found dead, like in a gutter, and it was kind of like a weird circumstance. But
Yeah, they got him drunk and they would dress him up in different outfits and make him vote for stuff.
who's
Who do you
they?
vote for stuff?
I don't know.
what do you mean?
The people in charge of an election. That's what happened.
Is that honestly what happened?
Yeah, that's honestly what most people think happened because he was wearing clothes that didn't fit. They just got him super drunk and was like, "Hey, go vote for what Labor Party or something." I don't know.
That's weird.
He's
How
from
do
the
you end up
Northeast.
just like dying from alcohol poisoning?
Yeah,
then,
he
or
just-
mixed with
too
drugs
much.
or yeah.
Because they kept getting him drunk and making him go vote.
Yeah,
for
it
stuff.
doesn't help because like the alcohol back then was made out of poison, so it'll get you.
Because alcohol nowadays is a good, wholesome, hearty snack.
The
Nutritious.
FDA is around for a reason. Actually, it'd probably be. I
That
don't
really
know.
picked up the beer splash. On
That's the
bottom.
point.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked.
Yes.
So, what type of college you going as a bard then? If you're doing the Shadow Sorcerer, saying
Any of-
lore, valor, does it matter?
No, any of them really. Well, if
Counterpoint.
you're going for like Edgar Allan Poe, I would say lore.
Yeah,
I mean
actually.
that fits really, really well because their whole thing is finding lost lores and knowledges, and they're not fighters at all. You're not making a fighter
Right.
fighting martial character at all if you go that route, which I
What-
think
What are the Xanther bard?
Xanathars.
Okay, whatever, man.
Glamour and swords. And wasn't there one more? I read all this last night. I'm bad about that. Flipping through the pages.
Literally
picking it up
never read in my
well.
entire life.
College of Swords, College of Whispers. That's the
That's
other
it.
one.
That could be interesting. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to actually know what the class does.
Did you not read this?
Nobody read anything good.
I read it all. You guys are the worst.
I have
You
read
still
it
have to
all
look it up.
before.
I know. I don't remember.
Yeah, Whispers mechanically is a little weird, but you basically sowing rumors, stuff like that.
Right.
Which doesn't necessarily match as well as, say, Valor, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
Lore.
or lore.
Yeah.
Lore.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean their first level 3 thing has to do with hitting with a weapon attack, and I feel like this is going to be not hitting with weapon attacks often.
Yeah.
Like it really should just stray away from it. But I mean, when we think about other stats that you want to put up, I really Constitution, of course, because they need to be an alcoholic. If you're going to be Edgar Allan Poe. No, you don't actually have to, but if Constitution's always a good one. Strength doesn't make sense.
No.
Dexterity's good because at least if you do need to make a weapon attack, you're a bard, so you've got that.
Yeah.
I really feel like I would just focus on like wisdom, but that's more just for like character wise.
Yeah, I always like. I don't like dumping wisdom just because of perception and insight, and there's so many good skills with it.
Right.
No, I forced myself out of that with my most past few characters dumping wisdom because I felt like I was kind of getting into this rut of all of my characters had decent wisdom and they were always perceptive and insightful. Let me play a character who's oblivious to literally everything, and it ended up being fun. So
yeah,
but
no, I get that.
just from a mechanic standpoint, I like to not dump wisdom.
Definitely.
Yeah. In terms of like you were saying with the college whispers, where it's first one adds to like a melee weapon attack. I think if you want to go that route, the Gish route, as the term goes.
What? I'm not familiar with Gish.
It's way before our time. Like back in like first edition D&D or something. Had to do with like the Githyanki warrior wizard. Basically the melee spellcaster.
Oh, okay.
It's like
You're a horror wizard.
It's before our time, but
Okay.
it's the term. I think College of Swords works really well with a sorcerer.
Why is that?
Because I mean they're all based around being able to attack and stuff and getting up in the fray, but it's also like increased by their magic. So I mean you get medium armor, which is nice.
Yeah. Not having to cast mage armor every day is always good.
Yeah, you could use your weapon as a spellcasting focus, which is great. Well, bard spells only, but you get a fighting style, dueling or two weapons. Blade flourish, you could like you could add just different effects, like a defensive flourish. You could use a bardic inspiration to deal extra damage to the targets.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It just like it's. I'm not saying it meshes, like it doesn't. The word we overuse, synergize with sorcerer, like it doesn't make this aspect of the sorcerer better. But if you take some of the skills as a college swords bard, mesh it together with sorcerer, you could have this kind of
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
I guess what you're... Oh, yeah. I like the difference between College of Swords and College of Valor, because my first thought is like, well, they're both melee bards. Like, what more do you need to it? But it's interesting. College of Valor is more of like the support bard, whereas College of Swords is more of like, you're on your own. You're using your bardic inspiration for your flourishes. So that's interesting. They both get the extra attack. Both very melee focused. I can't think of a great reason to go the melee route as a bard-sorcerer, just because you are kind of ignoring the fact that you've got two full casters that you could kind of make better. But I will say with College of Lore, their whole thing is they get the additional magical secrets at 6th level. You learn 2 spells of your choice from any class. You're already dipping from bard and sorcerer. Like, you've got such a wide range of spells to choose from.
Don't shit on my magical secrets. I literally have it in my notes. Magical secrets. One of the best abilities in the game. Great to have it for any character.
Okay, I won't say it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad because you'll kill me. I can see it in your eyes. But it's just, you're already pulling from 2 really good class lists. So it's not that it's not adding anything. It's just not adding as much as when you're just a flat bard.
The bard and the sorcerer kind of have a decent amount of overlap, though.
They do.
We're not talking about like completely foreign spells being available to you, but like the more like the rangers and the warlocks, they have their own spell sets that like have some cool stuff in there. So
exactly. So yeah, I would say it opens you up more. A real common thing for magical secrets is like some of the big ones, like Bardic and Fireball and stuff like that, already on the sorcerer list. And so it kind of frees you up from almost feeling, honestly, almost like this burden to like take these optimized spells to then look at like paladin spells and unique druid spells and ranger spells. And you're a high enough level since you're a full caster versus them half caster, where you could take almost their top level spells at this point in time. And like spells they don't get to level 17 that you now get in at level 6 or 10. Yeah, nothing specific coming to mind. I don't want to sit here and look them up right now, but there's some really cool combinations there.
It kind of sucks that you get it at 6th level, just because you're limited to 3rd level spells from other classes.
You get it again at 10. A core bard, every bard gets it at 10 no matter what.
Oh.
And then lore get it as a bonus time at 6th.
Okay, that's actually pretty good then.
Yeah.
And then so 10th is what, 4th level?
10.
No, that's up to 5th level.
Yeah. Which is the
Cool.
top level that Rangers of Paladins will ever get.
Right. So half casters you can pull from there.
Yeah,
Their
they
bag
can
of
get their
tricks.
top level spells 7 levels early. Which is nice.
Yeah, that is pretty nice, isn't
Kind
it?
of a dick move.
Yeah.
Smart.
Flexing on all those half casters.
Yeah. So this is our first time a bard has come up in our multi-class discussions. I love bards.
We know.
I know you guys talk about I always play bard. I played 2 bards.
They
In
played
the years
almost
we played
200
D&D,
bards.
but they were my 2 longest
Yes.
lasting characters. So it seems like Kevin's always a bard.
It was,
There's 2 of them.
It was the fact that you played a bard for about a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, you know what I want to play next for our long campaign? Another bard.
There was a break. There was a long break, and then it was a different character. And I wanted to. The first bard was my first real 5e character.
Right.
It was with Horde of the Dragon Queen. He made it pretty far with a pretty adversarial DM. Really, he was the only one who did not die frequently.
He didn't even die at the end.
Yeah.
Let's not get into it, but he
Well, no,
sold
we
his
can.
soul to a
Yes.
dragon.
It was a TPK against a fight against a dragon.
Terribly unbalanced fight against a dragon.
Yeah, we're all still. This was years ago. At this point, we're still all bitter about how that fight went.
We never recovered.
Regardless, it was a total TPK. My bard happened to be the last one alive, and he was clearly going to die. And just flavor-wise, it made sense that he would try and save his own ass
Yeah.
by going in leagues with the dragon. And so that's what happens. Effectively, he still died. Had to make a new character. He was gone. Technically, he didn't die.
Didn't we kill him later, or did he get away? I
No,
can't
he
remember.
became a recurring villain.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty funny.
Like a minor one, though. It was more just like
Yeah.
something weird happens, and we're just like, who's behind this? And
Yes.
there's just a letter that says FIFO.
Yeah.
It's FIFO, right?
Actually, it was that was terrible execution.
fearful.
It was not a bad idea, but it really was just kind of dumb.
It didn't have enough time to manifest.
A recurring villain.
We,
Yeah.
were, we were much younger men back then.
With a DM with a very different mindset.
Yeah.
If you're listening, bud, we love you. I'm sorry.
Not really.
Where was I going with this?
I
love bards, yeah.
You love bards. Why do you
Yeah.
love bards?
Why?
Yeah.
I
You don't like music.
no. Well, I like music.
You're a
What do you
pretty
mean?
Kevin-
negative guy.
He hates music and performing.
Hates music. Hates performance.
Hates
I
fun.
don't.
Loves
Actually,
juggling, though. He does
He
love
does
juggling.
love juggling. That was weird.
Yes,
I always
it's
wondered
just the
why that
weirdest
was.
thing.
Sorry,
He
Kevin.
performs.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I never really considered myself like a musical person, but like I've always obviously listened and liked music. I'm currently learning to play piano in terms of performance. Me and my wife go to plays all the time. Regardless, mechanically, I think they just happen to really gel well with my preferred default play style, which is the control, the utility, the support
Okay.
stuff. Like I a lot of people are drawn to the big damage numbers, the nuke characters, stuff like that.
Evocation wizards.
Yeah, and I could get the appeal. In my mind, it's like, all right, I'll let other people do that. I like the idea of being the kind of the tactical mastermind behind it all, the control of the battlefield and the affecting spells or things that could just avoid the combat altogether. And bards have a lot of amazing spells for that. And then especially when you have like stuff like magical secrets, bardic inspiration, cutting words.
No,
Yeah,
they are one of the only classes that I would say is like really fits that support role. Besides maybe a life cleric. So I see the benefit. Every time I have somebody playing a bard well, it honestly is really fun as a DM, because you just get to have your combats tackled in a way you're not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a DM, you don't just want to sit there and throw a bunch of monsters at a party and have them just, whack it until it's dead. It's not always fun.
Right.
It's nice to figure out ways to get around the hypnotic pattern that absolutely crushes, and just things like that. So bards are fun from both sides. I've never played one myself, probably because I don't want to play that support character. I do. I just want to cause numbers to go up super high and explode
that's
stuff.
fun too. And I forced myself to get away from that and then play a slew of characters that didn't fit that, some varying degrees of success. And if you play, I had that paladin, that vengeance paladin that just hit like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
Yep.
He died, unfortunately.
Like a truck.
Too early on.
Live like a truck, die like a truck.
I've never played a character that I didn't like, though. And it sounds like, you know, we've been just profusely shitting on Rangers at every opportunity. But I've played a Ranger and I loved it.
Same.
Yeah. But it was just a flat Ranger. It was, I played a Gnome Ranger and it was in a campaign that did not go long enough. I absolutely loved that character. But, you know, it's just, there's no bad characters in D&D. There's no bad classes.
I'm deeply unhappy and upset every time I'm not playing a warlock. Like every time I roll anything that isn't a warlock, I just think about quitting and never talking to these people ever again.
Oh, come on. You're playing a Forge Cleric, as has been said so many times now. You like it. How do you not like it? Really, why?
Yeah, because he's not aligned with the forces of evil. I like just casting Eldritch Blast. I don't like to have to think. I'm just like, Eldritch Blast.
I don't believe you.
All right, I'm kind of kidding. But every time I'm
I
not...
I could kill Saucy.
Oh, don't kill Saucy yet. Saucy will die. I predict this. Because Saucy's a hero. Not the hero that you deserve, but the hero...
Or that we asked for. Oh, God.
You do
Also,
need him.
your DM stopped bowling bunches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, no, seriously though,
I'm the
is there
DM
anything,
by the way?
Is there anything
guilty
bad
of it.
about the Forge Cleric?
No, actually, I'm very happy with the class.
Every time I've looked it
This is not the
over.
No, this is not the cleric discussion. And next time, actually, we're discussing clerics. Maybe
really?
pin that.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, next
put it
time
in
is
the
Bookmark. on
Cleric
that.
Ranger. Because we keep
Oh,
rolling Ranger.
Jesus Christ. I really like the Ranger.
Yeah, the Pure Ranger is kind of a fun flavor character.
It is. Like,
But it's also not the topic of today's discussion.
no, it's not.
Talk about the Forge Cleric. We go off topic all the time. It's fine.
No, that's cool. We'll save it. So,
yeah.
Bard, Sorcerer, let's go. Geez, come on. There has to be more to it.
Oh, so with Wild Magic Surge going to the Bard is really even one level dip, which is what I did.
Yeah.
Gets you a lot. So the Wild Magic Surge, where
Tides of Chaos.
yeah, anytime you cast a sorcerer spell, as written, it's the DM can ask you to roll a d20, and on a 1, you roll on this Wild Magic Surge table. We've always just discussed it beforehand and saying every time you cast a sorcerer spell, roll that d20, because we kind of figure a 5% chance of it happening every time you cast a level 1 spell or higher. Cantrips don't count. Is rare enough, anyways, than having the DM remember it.
The only issue with that is the fact that it lets them regain that Tides of Chaos again, like immediately. So that's always the one thing that I'm kind of on the fence on. I just think it's a really bad mechanic, if I'm being honest, because leaving that up to the DM just feels super weird.
Yeah, well, we were kind of talking about different things. I was just saying getting the Wild Magic Surge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's you cast a spell and it's saying something went wrong with it. This spell happens and then there's this table you roll on.
Right.
Which a lot of people shit on, saying that it's too random and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, how is this a class
The random
benefit?
table is too random.
Yeah, like how is
Get
this a
outta
class
here.
benefit? If you look through it, the majority of them are positive or just at least neutral.
Right.
It's actually a pretty good thing. You'll see there's this 10,000 item table that exists out there online where you click a button and pulls you a random thing out of 10,000, and people say, oh, this is so much more fun, let's do that, it's so much more interesting. It completely nerfs the class.
Oh.
100% neuters the Wild Magic Sorcerer, because now instead of there's 50 options on there pretty much,
With, let's say,
probably half
good.
good, 25% neutral, and the other 25 bad.
Varying levels of bad. Let's just say that.
Yeah. 10,000 where the vast, vast, vast majority are just neutral.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I don't even know why people think it's fun. It's stuff like your pants turn blue, your pants turn yellow, your pants turn red, your pants turn green.
Oh, yeah. No, there's like...
And then it's like your socks turn blue.
Oh
your
my
socks,
God.
It's like
The socks?
it goes through everything to get to 10,000.
Your
What
left
about-
sock turns blue.
Oh, my
your
God.
right sock turns
Like, it's
red.
like-
They don't match.
They don't match.
They don't match anymore. You're a sorcerer with non-matching socks.
And as a bard, you're expected to be the life of the party, and you're embarrassing yourself.
Unless you go that I'm too quirky for matching socks route.
Oh,
We
that's
all
the
know that
worst
guy.
way.
Oh,
Or
but
gal.
what if you are that way and then your socks change to the same color? So
Oh,
you've got a
shit.
blue and a red, and then you roll, and it's like, oh, your both socks are blue. Oh my God. So yeah, let's just agree that's awful.
Yeah,
It
that
totally-
table is absolutely haram. Nobody ever used that table.
All right. one level dip into wild magic. So, anyways, my little tangent aside. So
Yes.
then you also get Tides of Chaos, where you could choose to get advantage on, I think it's what, attack, roll, ability check, or save and throw. Just about anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You once per long rest, unless you end up having to roll on the wild magic surge table again when you cast a spell, then it resets it and you could use it again. That's what Jared was talking about, where it's kind of iffy of how do we handle that. Like, we try just saying, well, it just happens. If you, next time you cast a sorcerer spell of level 1 or higher, you will automatically roll on the wild magic surge table, which is fun and works. But then you immediately get Tides of Chaos again, and that's a lot of advantage.
Yeah, it's a very, very powerful skill. So it's just, I'm in such a, I almost want to say, like, you just need to homebrew something for that to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because,
or again, just the DM keeps track of, because ultimately it says, I think it says the DM will tell you.
that's
if
what
it
I'm
happens.
saying. When I say
So
homebrew, I
just-
mean the DM needs to come up with a way to, like, say, okay, next time you do it, I'm going to roll a D20. If it's over 10, you have to roll on it. You know,
Okay,
like, come up
yeah.
with something that you think this will be frequent enough, but it's not every single time.
Yeah.
And it's just adding more work, which I kind of hate. So that's why I don't like the ability. I love the flavor of it. I love how it turns out and, like, everything about it. Cool. It just sucks the way that they're like, the DM, you figure it out. It's like,
Yeah.
really? Why?
So yeah, just a one level dip into that. Get you some good stuff. Also, it gives you. I don't have it up. I have it in my notes here.
What, for a sorcerer? Looking
Yeah,
at that?
one
6 level. Oh, 1 level dip?
Yeah, what do you also get? What, like 4 cantrips? No, new cantrips, right? What does a sorcerer get at level 1? 4 cantrips known?
Oh, just a sorcerer in
Yes,
general.
4
okay,
cantrips.
I'm sorry. I was looking at...
yeah, you have that right there. Yeah, 4 cantrips known.
Yep.
2 level 1 additional 2 level 1 spells.
They're full caster.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
spells known. Yeah, so 2 additional. Yeah.
So, yeah, 1 level dip into wild magic, 4 new cantrips, 2 first level spells, and then it will not impede your spell progression because they're both full casters because it's the combined thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would get rolling on the wild magic surge table and Tides of Chaos. Like, that's a really good 1 level dip.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for what it's worth, that actually fits that rejection really well. If you did want to play a character like that, it's like, I don't want to be a sorcerer. I want to play a bard.
Yeah.
Like, at least you're,
Yeah.
still getting a lot out of it, but
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
It
if
does
you
work
go-
with how you kind of played it, though, where you're a high-level bard, touch something magical, get this wild magic surge. You now have a lot of benefit from that one level dip.
Right. And then going 3 levels into sorcerer, you start getting, that's where meta magic comes into play,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And meta magic does not have to be on a sorcerer spell. I double checked it. Any spell you cast.
Cool. That's really
Which-
good.
Yeah. So if you're only 3 levels, you have 3 sorcery points, so it's kind of limited, but you'll at least be able to do a few cool things. And if you go higher, obviously you get more.
Do those come back only on a long rest?
I think it's short. I'm not sure though. You have it open there.
I do. It just doesn't say. It's not in there.
I'm sure it says.
Long rest.
Long rest. Okay.
Sorcery points are long rest.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. To back up a little bit, one thing to note about the wild magic surge, about roll the d20, if you get a 1, the wild magic surge happens. It's only on sorcerer spells. If you cast a bard
right.
spell, it doesn't trigger it.
Right.
But there's so much overlap, it happens a lot.
That actually is kind of an interesting way to put it. Like, as long as the sorcerers have access to it, or is it if I learned it from
Generally
leveling up as a
speaking,
sorcerer, does that make it a
Yes,
sorcerer
that's-
spell?
If you're using that slot in that spirit.
But the slots are combined. There is no slot for it. It's only when you learn the spell would it be differentiated. So it's almost like when you level up, you need to say, I learned this as a bard. I learned this as a sorcerer. And at that point,
You're getting into the territory where it might be better just to say screw it and like kind of it's like most of these are going to be wild magic origin.
I would
Let's
just
blow
say-
up every day.
I would just say as long as they're both on there, if they're both on there, just say, okay, that applies.
Yeah.
Easiest way to handle it. But you have options, which is good
Yeah.
to someone.
Mm-hmm.
What do wild magic sorcerers get at higher levels? It looks like
Cool
this
stuff.
6th level is pretty cool. You get to basically give a bless for 2 sorcery points to almost a guidance, quick reaction guidance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, that one, it's on its own. If all you are as a sorcerer is good.
Mm-hmm.
if you're multi-classing with a bard, it's
Totally
just
pointless.
Yeah, it's like a poor man's bardic inspiration.
Right. You want to use your sorcerer points on much more important
which is
things.
a 1d4. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yep,
Where
1d4.
bardic inspiration starts as 1d6.
Mm-hmm.
So then flip to the other side, a quick dip into bard. 1 level gets you 4 spells known, 2 cantrips, medium armor, and then bardic inspiration.
With a D6?
Yeah, which is still really good.
No, yeah, I agree.
And you can, the bardic inspiration, the standard thing of it is you could, I think it's a bonus action. You do something. That
Yeah, it's a bonus action.
Inspires a creature, and then they get your bardic inspiration dice, say a D6, and then they have it for 10 minutes or until they use it once, and they could choose to add it on.
1 ability check, 1 attack roll, or a saving throw.
Yes. You sure saving throw?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was specifically not.
Nope, reading it right now.
Okay. So that's really good. And then as you get higher in level, it goes to D8, D10, D12. But even if you never advance past level 1, a D6 to add to something is really great. And you can do it the number of times equal to your charisma modifier. So how many times you do it is not impacted by how many bard levels you take. So that's really good.
Definitely.
Yeah. Then if you go 3 levels to get to your bard college and take lore, you get cutting words, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. So you could spend your bardic inspiration, your D6, to subtract from someone else's roll, an enemy's roll, attack roll, or saving throw. Not saving throw. That's the one that's specifically not saving throw.
Right.
Their
Attack roll, ability check, or damage roll.
Yeah.
As a reaction.
Yeah. Which is also really good. So
Yeah.
there's 3 levels in the bard.
Interesting. So you can use cutting words and bardic inspiration in the same turn.
Yeah.
Because they're bonus action and a reaction.
Yep.
That's good.
So you could get there's a lot there for just a couple level dips, or if you half and half or whatever.
Right. Yeah, these classes just go over so well.
Yeah, it's a good combination. Something that's not is the Draconic Ancestry Sorcerer.
I don't like that. I don't like that that subclass.
Yeah. By itself, if you're just a sorcerer, I think it's decent. But again, it just gives you stuff that you're going to get better as a bard. You get buffed up AC, but you're going to have better AC and medium armor from a bard.
Right.
You get an increase to a particular elemental damage. Bards have very few elemental damage spells.
Yeah, thematically, the Draconic Sorcerer is very good for kind of a purity aspect.
Yeah.
And its later level stuff is also very good. Comparing it to Wild Magic Surge, I know all the way up to level 18, but that's a really bad capstone. You get to roll an extra die once per turn for damage.
I'm sorry, are we looking at Wild Magic's?
Yes,
or
Wild Magic Surge.
Yeah.
This guy.
Beginning at 18th level, the harmful energy of your spells intensifies. When you roll damage for a spell and roll the highest number possible on any of the dice, choose one of those dice, roll it again, and add that roll to the damage. I'm actually not really sure what that's trying to get at.
So let's say I roll my fireball damage or something.
Okay. And one of them's a 6.
One of them is a 6. I can be like, oh shit, I'll take that 6 and I'll roll it again. And now that it gets added. Yeah.
So I can just add an extra damage die.
That's it, yeah.
If you roll... Why is it limited to that? Why doesn't it just add a damage die?
I have no idea.
If you roll max damage on 1. Okay. That seems dumb.
Yeah. I misspoke. I said bards and their medium armor will kill that AC. Bards only get light armor unless you're like a Valor bard. Then they get medium. But even still, the light armor. What's the AC bonus? You have the page right there.
AC bonus for it's 13 plus dex. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, but so what's a base light armor? Like the cheapest light armor, I think it's 12 plus dex.
I think so. Well, it's 11.
Is it?
Yeah, light armor goes really low.
Okay. But you can very easily get up there.
Right, because I think your base is 10 plus dexterity for AC.
Yeah.
You also get a bonus to HP, which is, not fun, but it's like a free combo.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a good combination with bards. It stands by itself quite well.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, the best light armor is actually 12 plus dex. But there's no limit on dex modifier. You're still going to have a higher AC as the Draconic.
If you take the best or the worst?
The best is 12 plus dex.
Really?
For light armor. That's studded leather.
Yeah.
Okay. But so it's slightly better, 13 plus dex versus 12 plus dex.
It's definitely not worth.
Yeah, I say, is it worth the dip?
No, of course not. It'd be for if you really wanted. There's no reason that you can't take it. You're just not going to be as great as really any other sorcerer class. And most likely, if you're trying to have a higher dex, you're going to be doing other things as a bard anyways, like the Valor, which gives you medium armor, which makes that dex plus 13 totally useless.
Right.
Because then you can switch to medium armor. It's not a problem.
And then one more mechanic thing. Then we should probably talk about roleplaying and why you do this, because we've been just gushing over the mechanics here. Another quick just dip into Bard. You get really early on Bard or Jack of all trades. So you could add, even if you're not proficient in an ability check, you could add half your proficiency bonus to it anyways.
Right.
Song of Rest, where it just a little extra healing when you rest. And then Expertise, where you could double your proficiency bonus to something.
Yeah, that's
So
just once again.
really great. Yeah, just for anybody, that's good.
Yep.
So
Yep, I think bards really are in general a pretty good one to multi-class into.
Yeah.
They don't have many requirements. It really is just charisma, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Charisma
so that's
13.
their only requirement. That's good. You don't have one of those double ones. Overall, any level you get to is going to give you something worth getting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
All right.
I like it. All right, so we should. I think we have one RP concept, and that's Edgar Allan Poe. And then the one I did.
And just a sorcerer who loves music is good.
Okay.
That was one as well. Just saying, like, you are channeling your creative side, your magic that you can't understand into a creative outlet.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something less feel-goody, but
Yeah.
Edgar Allan
So-
Poe isn't really
Yeah.
a bright situation.
Yeah. So what's interesting about all these with multi-class and sorcerer, really, it's like, unless you pick Wild Magic Surge from a roleplay perspective, you really can't justify not starting as a sorcerer. They're
Correct.
always born with draconic ancestry, born with a connection to the Shadowfell or
Whatever.
whatever it's called. I
Yeah.
think that's from Stranger Things, but whatever.
No, they had the dumbest names for everything. It's the
They
Upside
changed up
Down.
The upside down.
Yeah.
That's what they called it.
Yeah. It
That's
doesn't
what
matter. It doesn't
but
matter.
when there was a book, it's not important. Welcome to the Stranger Things Dissection podcast.
That actually is a podcast.
I doesn't surprise me. There's a dissection.
There's 2 friggin' seasons.
That's it.
How could you even talk about that shit?
Honestly, can we just talk about how badly they mess up D&D with the 3 minutes they have it on screen? Can we do that? Can we go into the fireball rant?
They
if you want to?
created an absolutely beautiful mechanic that anytime a player rolls 14 on their fireball, it kills the big bad evil guy.
Well, that's a sure. You know what? We will bring that into our campaign.
I've always
I'm
believed
making
that.
it canon as the DM of our current campaign of Out of the Abyss because you don't roll for fireball, so I never have to worry about it.
No, you do.
No,
You're
you
like,
don't.
I cast fireball, and then you roll a die, and the DM's like, "What are you doing? That's not an attack." And you're like, "But I rolled 14," and you're like, "Shit, he killed it." I hate this new rule, but we gotta respect it. It's
I
a
remember
Netflix rule.
I remember when that show came out though, and that's like, one of the opening scenes. I immediately went online because I was yelling about it, and whoever I was watching it with was like, well, maybe it was like an older edition or something, and I'm like, okay, that's fair.
80s,
and
yeah.
I looked through every single edition of D&D, and it's always been a spell, which makes sense. It's the most iconic spell in D&D. 2, never once been rolled for. You never roll for fireball. And when they talked about it, like they hyped it up so much of like, oh, we really tried to show how much of nerds they were because they played D&D, and it was really important to us because we played D&D. And it's like, do you? Do you play D&D?
Mentiroso.
It was upsetting. It's very
Friggin'
upsetting.
normies who make movies and stuff like that don't play nerdy hobbies. Or they played them wrong, apparently.
Right, like Vin Diesel.
Like Vin Diesel. Oh shit, what if Vin Diesel listens and gets mad?
That's awesome.
No,
Hi, Vin Diesel.
Any other character concepts? I think honestly we do have a pretty good range here.
Yeah, so I like the idea of there's the Storm Sorcerer.
Oh yeah. How does
which-
that fit into Bard though?
So you're born into that, and again, for whatever reason, I guess it's again another somewhat rejection. So if Storm Sorcerer to me screams this kind of chaotic, turbulent nature
Okay.
of everything, and they're not a musician; they're like a actor, they're an orator, they are calm and cool and collected, but they have this kind of turbulence, storm, sorcerer inside. That's
They have a
sorta-
temper.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
More like a tempest.
Oh.
Oof. Oh, that was not good.
No, it wasn't.
So sorry.
So yeah, I like Bard-sorcerer.
Yeah, man, me too. That really ruined it for me. I feel like we need like a no shitty joke rule, but also we need shitty jokes. They're important. So Storm Sorcerer. I actually did like where you were going with that. What?
I already went.
That was it?
All right, yeah, no,
Literally.
I can entertain it, I guess. He's got like a stormy personality.
There's no reason against it. I think that's the main thing I'm coming to with all of these. It's just I'm not going to shoot down basically any sorcerer bard combination.
As long as they started as a sorcerer.
Right. Yep. As long as they start as a sorcerer, and as long as that bard wants to go into Wild Magic Surge, all good. Beyond that, you're not limited. That's really what it comes to. There's so much.
Yeah, it's a very open-ended. You can create whatever kind of bard you want and add some sorcery to it. You don't need like this justification for your choice because it's a pretty good choice.
Why are you listening to this podcast right now? You just go make
Just
your
go
bard
make your
sorcerer.
Bard sorcerer.
Go.
An
You don't
entire
need us.
party of them. Same specs.
Cool. All right. I think it's time to talk about the Nagpa.
Woo.
This week's monster is the Nagpa, a terrifying-looking bird monster. Once some kind of wizard, he pissed off the Edge Queen of Shadowfell, the Raven Queen. So like the bitch she is, she turned them into horrible bird monsters, incapable of creating or learning. This twisted abomination now has to seek out knowledge and lore by more or less plundering collapsed civilizations. So how do you collapse civilization? You work from the shadows, apparently. I don't know. How are we going to do this, guys?
Ugh. Okay. Yeah, that is a bit of an exhausting undertaking. So we've got a pretty high challenge rating enemy that is very, very deep lore in only like a quarter of a page here. That sets you up for potentially a full campaign. So the main thing, as you said, is that we've got to destroy a society or civilization. That's their main goal. It's just destroying civilization.
They have a curse. They can only plunder knowledge from lost civilizations.
Right.
So they've taken upon themselves to make the civilizations lost, to then plunder their knowledge. It's like, I feel like if we were to really sit down and take that curse to its logical ends, there's a lot of holes and loopholes and weirdness that's ambiguous, but we're not going to do that.
I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward, actually. They can gain knowledge. They want to gain knowledge. The only way they can get it is through destroyed civilizations. Let's destroy civilization by never actually going into that civilization.
What?
I guess they can go into it, but they can't learn from it. That part's kind of
It's a little weird, but I think that's kind of one of the things, just as the DM, you just sort of smooth it over and just sort of make it work how you need it to work.
How does this work? The Raven Queen. With mechanic, the Raven Queen.
So they've got a really wide array of spells here to set up these schemes. They're not all combat spells, which is good. I mean, a lot of creatures don't really have all combat spells, but this one actually seems like it could use them to its advantage. It's got suggestion. It's got charm person.
It has the corruption ability, just as a bonus action, you can try and charm. So yeah, these are definitely, I mean, the Nagpa are the big bad evil guys of a campaign.
Yes.
They are the ultra intelligent creatures behind the scenes pulling the strings. 23 intelligence, 21 charisma, 18 wisdom.
Oof, that's high. See, monsters like this intimidate me because as a person who really gives himself a 10 on intelligence, I don't know how I'd put together something so orchestrated that would really live up to a Nagpa.
You would metagame.
Well, yeah,
that's basically
metagame.
That's how. You as the DM doing this would metagame.
Wait! I can metagame as the DM.
Well,
You are the metagame.
Yeah. I'm being serious though. There's that kind
Right.
of push about no, don't metagame. Why would this creature know this, and why would they think to do that, and why would they be able to exploit that weakness? Well, the Nagpa is intelligent enough and resourceful enough to you can kind of just assume they're just gonna know,
Right.
and so you almost cheat as them. You
Okay.
metagame. You kind of take that unreasonable course of action that like it's really hard to get there, but this thing is so advanced and intelligent and so good at plotting that it just kind of does it. It just knows it.
Right. So where normally you have your PCs do something and they figure out the way to solve it, whatever that may be, and you kind of reward them. You almost do the opposite, it sounds like, where
Yeah.
they successfully do something and it's like, aha, but actually I had this up my sleeve the entire time, and now you have to do another fetch quest.
Or roll to not get disintegrated.
Yeah.
You're almost there until another fetch quest.
I know. That's the
Fetch
point.
quests.
So no, I mean that's interesting. So if its goal is to collapse society, I guess you've got a lot of options with starting wars, causing just riots in ways, political upheavals. So if this is going to be an entire campaign, though, is it an entire campaign, or is it something that is just high level parties are going to have to figure out what's happening in this city, like stuff like that?
So I think it's almost like an entire campaign without realizing it. Like it needs to be a twist.
Right.
Like it's almost presented like the sandbox campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and the heroes, the party, whatever, they go and do things, and stuff happens in this world that they respond to, and over the course of time, things seem to just keep unraveling.
Or yeah, and
Or like almost keep unraveling, and it's only this party's presence that stops it. That however you want to take that.
yeah,
And then at the end of it all, it's revealed that these are not just random occurrences and happenstance and just different nations wanting different things. It's all ultimately orchestrated by this group of Nagpa,
yeah. Okay.
and it's like kind of big twist.
Are they working together?
Spoiler alerts.
Yes, they are in fact working together.
So I think that's a really interesting thing about him too. Is there might be others. I have not read a single other like monster in any of these books where they have a very finite amount. There's 13 Nagpa in the world because there was 13 wizards trying to interrupt this ritual that the Raven Queen cursed and made them Nagpa.
Okay.
And that's it. These do not have this reproduction cycle. They are not
Right.
existing through some other means. They are 13 specific ones. I'm actually almost surprised I didn't like name them or something because it's only 13 of them.
I would name them.
Sure. So I find that interesting. It's usually these monsters, exist for some reason. Like they have their existence. This is 13 cursed people.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it doesn't need to be like right out the gate. You're going to fight all 13 of them. Honestly, you'd never fight all 13 of them
That'd
at
be
one time.
terrible.
Yes, that'd be stupid. But you could have it where it's kind of like you spend all this time figuring out, oh god, this is the Nagpa behind all of this, and now you have to go and actually like find the other 12,
Right.
which that becomes difficult just because you need to really vary this monster and use it as a starting point, be it as make it a lower difficulty one, or just make it where this one's a fire one, this one's an ice one. I don't know, something like that.
I don't think the fighting 13 different Nagpa
No,
would be a good
not 13.
campaign.
That really does seem like too many.
Right.
But fighting a couple at a time, that's an option. If I'm talking about when you're level 17, it's gonna be deadly, but it's possible.
Yeah, just the fact that they're spellcast. This is the question though.
Yeah.
Is who do they team up with? They obviously team up with themselves, but they're not exactly the things that can actually operate in the shadows. They can't be the Wormtongue style character who's whispering false ideas in the king's ear,
Right.
Because they look like horrible bird monsters. That's part of the curse. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing in their spell list that helps them with that.
No, I noticed
So
that.
who would work with a horrible bird monster to collapse the civilization just for the sake of stealing all their library books?
Probably people who are expecting to get something out of that, like other wizards.
Other wizards?
Yeah, who are looking for knowledge, or think the king has been leading them in the wrong direction. They don't care about the civilization anymore.
Or no one. I think that's kind of the flavor that the Nagpa is going for. No one, and I'm doing air quotes here that no one can see, in a sense, is choosing to work with them.
Right.
They're manipulating things so well that everybody's kind of working for them, but nobody realizes it.
Everybody thinks they're working for themselves.
Yeah.
But they do still need that proxy to interface with whatever society they are undermining.
Or suggestion, the corruption ability, charm person, suggestion.
Does
Stuff like
anyone
that.
know what hallucinatory terrain does?
Yeah, it's kind of it's an interesting one. It's you could pretty much create a hallucinatory terrain over a really large area. So it's like, here's this desert, and we can make it look like an oasis or something. And there's details on
Okay.
how it all works. It's
I could see that
you
being
can turn part
potentially
of a cave
useful.
into a swamp. It's a wizard spell to make people fuck up, honestly.
Right.
Problem though is I feel compelled that they need some kind of allies, because the action economy against a single wizard boss is about as bad as it gets.
right.
Any even moderately equipped party, if they close the gap on this guy, they will burn him down in a turn and a half.
Yeah.
And what's he gonna do? I mean, he's got like a handful of spells to deal with that, but he needs like something. He needs some even dumb bear guardian that's gonna keep the party at bay. So he needs there doesn't need to be some kind of organization behind him to
Right.
keep his ass safe.
Or you just don't make fighting him the climax of the campaign. You make figuring out about them the climax of the campaign.
And then it just flies away. Scraw! You foiled me this time.
Clearly do not have wings.
They do have the spell fly though.
Okay.
Hey, but they flap their arms just, to make it look cool. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what would work for them.
Yeah, I
That's
think
kinda
they
the hard
need
part.
they need henchmen. All
the-
bad guys
they're-
need henchmen.
They're master manipulators with this high of everything: 23 intelligence, 18 wisdom, 21 charisma. Deception is plus 11. I don't see any reason why they couldn't, you find somebody on the street and it's just like, oh, hold up, I know I look like a terrifying bird person, but let's talk. And then from
Roll
there you
for
can,
it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Persuasion plus 10, yeah.
Right. So I mean, they are, even though they're terrifying looking, they could play it in a bunch of different ways. Like, oh, I'm sick and I was cursed. I need you to do these things for me because
True, yeah.
I'm sick and cursed, and this will help.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're master manipulators, so
Yeah.
you got to play it up like that. Where sure, they don't have people who, knowing their full intentions, would do everything they would want them to do for them. But yeah, you can twist things around.
Definitely.
I think if I did ever create a campaign with this, though, I would want to sit down and kind of write out the entirety
Of their plan.
yeah, like entirety of their plans to start, and then work within that constraint instead
Yes.
of trying to do this on a week by week basis.
Oh, for sure.
Which is a lot of what I
Yeah.
normally do. Just like, I don't want things to be screwed up too much, but like with this, you stick to their plan and make the PCs move to it, which is a little bit more railroady. Not really, because it really just depends on how they react to it.
Right.
But you are leading the direction of the campaign 100%.
For sure. Yeah, in terms of matching their level of planning and intelligence, whether like it's otherworldly for us, mere humans. Another way to kind of think of it is, so you do that plan, and if like someone's coming up with some like big manipulation plan like this to bring about some really big impact on something, a lot of it hinges on, all right, so if I do this, people are going to do that. And I think there's probably not many big grand collapse of civilization real world examples, but there's definitely examples of people trying to be manipulative and have these drawn out plans, and they fail because their assumption was wrong. If I do X, they'll do Y. With the Nagpa, and you have control of this world,
Right.
you just make sure their assumptions are already right. If I do X, people do Y, and that's how it works.
Right.
The PCs are the variable, which they should be because
Yep.
they need some agency.
Yep.
But then you have some contingency plans. You can start thinking through, all right, I know these people, they're most likely going to do A, B, or C. Here's what I do for A, B, and C. If they get really creative and do D, well, shit, okay, they bested them for the time being. And then you adjust.
That actually is a good way to think about it, is giving them those wins if they think of something extremely outside of the box. But you almost have to make the obvious solutions to problems. My best example right now is in Star Fox 64. Did anybody play that?
Everyone
Yeah,
played
yeah.
that.
Okay, you could either get mission complete or mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like basically along those lines of sure you did it, but you didn't do it the right way. You didn't find that waterfall to fly underneath and fight the real boss. You instead are just getting the cookie cutter move on portion. So I think that'd be
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, but in reality, option D is always something dumber than you would have ever thought of.
Option D for stupid.
D for stupid. Generally speaking, your PCs will come up with a worse idea than you could have ever come up on your own.
I totally disagree.
And you have to punish them in a unique and special way.
No, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I can't say how many times I've assumed you guys would go in one of three directions, and it turned out a different way. That I was like, oh, I didn't. I would probably in this scenario ask for everybody's character sheet because the main thing is always like, oh, I forgot that you've got that one spell that totally gets around this easily, which is my bad. But in general, it's you guys still have creative thoughts. It's not that obvious every time.
And then
Positive look at that.
digging into the specifics of these things, stat block a little more. Like if you
Yeah.
end up actually fighting them, they are very formidable.
Which I think you should. I do
Yeah.
think they're fun and it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Give them their henchmen, whatever that may be. I don't think you're really limited. They
Right.
could be veteran guards for all I care.
Yeah.
And they're going to add something more than just having
and
it.
just mercenaries, even.
Yeah,
Just
whatever.
So they're 15th level spellcasters. So they have the firebolt cantrip, and since they're 15th level, you have to remember that goes up in damage. So that's 3d10
Mm-hmm.
right there. And then they have stuff like charm person, protection from evil and good, hold person,
So many
suggestion,
spells.
counterspell, fireball, fly, confusion, wall of fire, dominate person, dream, geese, circle of death, disintegrate, etherealness, prismatic spray, and feeble mind.
Could you even imagine wasting your time with a cantrip on this thing? Let alone
No.
it's... So, okay, there's one attack that we're not talking about, though. The most important one.
Staff.
It has a single melee attack with +8 to hit and does 2d6 plus 2 bludgeoning.
Woo.
That averages to almost 9 damage.
For a challenge rated 17.
So, okay, yeah, of course you're never going to do that. If you're doing that, then the only thing I can think of is somebody casts Feeble Mind on the Nagpa and somehow it fails, in which case, great, your boss battle is just done.
Or like anti-magic field or something. It's just
Right.
they needed to give it something.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
someone's
yeah.
not sitting there trying to, how do I homebrew improvised weapon for a monster?
Right.
It just
Yeah,
you
it's
whack
just
'em with
dumb.
your staff. But
So, yeah, that's fair. But, I mean, the spell casting, I don't even know why you'd cast a cantrip.
Yeah.
There's so many things you
Yeah.
can do.
And there's
Besides
a
Witch Bolt.
Except Witch Bolt.
Yeah.
Never cast Witch Bolt
No.
in any situation.
and there's a good chance you're not gonna face these just one of them. Like I said, they're one of 13. They're a group that works together. So
I know I said it earlier, but really, you probably are going to fight one at a time, if anything. I mean, I don't even think... I honestly don't like the idea of fighting more of them.
How about a
Because...
stadium with 13 Nagpa? All casting Disintegrate on the first turn.
They don't have Disintegrate.
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do have Disintegrate. 6th
Yeah.
level. Never mind.
Which is bad. That's bad.
I'm not
Yes.
familiar with how Disintegrate works. Is that like 10d something? I don't remember. It's like pass or fail if...
10d6 plus 40.
Right!
If it kills
right,
you,
right,
you're
right.
dust.
yeah, if you
Yes.
get down to 0, you just boom dead.
Yeah.
And it's that's one of those spells that seems lopsided. As a PC, having it, like it almost never seems to work. Or the
No.
stuff you want to cast it on has legendary resistances,
Uh-huh.
and they just ignore it. But then the thought of a PC facing a monster with it is terrifying because
Yeah.
I can't shrug it off.
Also,
I don't have,
difference is this thing
DC
has
20.
plus 12. Oh, is that a save?
Yeah.
It makes a save. Okay, yeah. DC 20, that's really difficult. Even if, and you should, have somebody have counterspell, you're still going to have to roll to beat that instead of it just being like a flat out, unless you
Right.
cast counterspell at
Sixth.
6th level,
6th level counterspell.
which you're not going to know. You don't know what level to cast counterspell at.
right.
That's a huge risk.
Yeah, you can upcast Disintegrate. If you were just like a kind of a dick DM, you could theoretically just keep spamming Disintegrate until the party gave up and lost its will.
Jeez.
Because all their friends are now,
Dust.
piles.
Yeah, and that's tough.
Yeah.
That's very tough right there.
And-
You almost have to limit how much damage you're dishing out as this thing as a DM. I can't think of a single level where some of these spells are not over the top for a monster to have.
Right. Yeah, and then they have the paralysis ability. So it's a recharge of 6. So after you use it, at the start of every turn, roll a d6. If a 6 comes up, you get another use. So as a bonus action, force every creature within 30 feet of it to succeed on a DC 20 Wisdom save, or be paralyzed for 1 minute. You do get to repeat it at the end of each of your turns, which is a standard thing, but still, that's just a mass hold person.
Yeah, with a recharge of 6.
As a bonus action. You can still do that and cast a spell. Like a regular spell. It's not even counting as a spell to get in that weird rule where if you do a spell as a bonus action, the actual spell has to be a cantrip, because it's not a spell. You could do that and then feeble behind someone, or do that and disintegrate someone.
Yeah.
And they would auto fail.
I don't know, like, honestly, you can play this so
In the Nagpa,
adversarial.
they would know to do it.
Right.
It's
right.
like you pull out all the cheap tricks. The Nagpa's going to do it.
Honestly, it says challenge rating 17, and maybe per damage per round average, that makes sense. But this thing is tough.
Yes.
I actually wouldn't even want to fight this at any level, just based on that. One person fails. That's their bonus action. You start with that. Okay, now I disintegrate that person, and they're already down to half their health on the very first thing. But actually, I upcasted at 8th level, so instead of 10d6,
It's probably just going to be 12
whatever.
D6.
I actually don't know if you can upcast disintegrate.
I
Is
don't
that?
know. If it doesn't.
If it does, it
nothing
might not
scales
scale.
well.
Yeah.
It's usually one more damage dice.
Yeah, either way, I mean, you can just do so much. Or Fireball. Why not Fireball? If you do the paralysis.
3d6 per level.
Really?
Yeah, disintegrate does scale.
Okay. That's
Not that
bad.
it matters, because it's just horrible.
Right. But I mean, still, you can just do paralysis very first turn, and then Fireball 7th level, or Feeble Mind first turn and just completely ruin somebody. I think I've said this before on air, but Feeble Mind just feels mean, because the only person that you should target, if you're even thinking about it at all, is a spellcaster. And if they fail, they're just out of the fight. They can't cast spells anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. It sucks. Drops your intelligence down to, I think it's 3,
Yeah.
something like that. So you're barely even sentient.
Right.
If
It drops your intelligence and charisma down to 1.
Oh,
You are completely brain dead.
Yeah.
The only thing it says you can do is identify your friends and protect them.
But yeah, not casting spells or anything. But like at the level where Feeble Mind starts showing up, generally you should have access to things to take care of it relatively easily.
I don't know what can.
Greater Restoration, which is a 5th level spell.
Okay.
I mean, it's a big deal, though.
No, that's fair. I can
Yeah.
totally deal with that. I mean, they go brain dead, and then you have your cleric or somebody who knows Greater Restoration. Yeah. Oh God, please somebody have Greater Restoration.
Even if they don't, I'd still allow. Yeah, go to a town, pay someone to do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it's a spellcaster, they're done.
Yeah.
This entire fight is now effectively won by the Nagpa, and that actually might be a good way to do this. Crippling the party to ward them off over outright killing them.
That paralysis move almost seems to lend itself to running away.
Yeah.
Or, robbing a bank.
Oh God, is there a limit on how many people?
Nope.
Oh yeah, robbing a bank indeed.
That would be an this is a good character if you've got something that seems impossible to steal, but you want to have it stolen so the players have something to do. The Nagpa can probably get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all around great.
Nagpa, cool monster.
Yeah.
Scary as hell. Campaign builder. Pulling the strings of the world.
You can talk like a bird monster.
Welcome to my town.
We're destroying civilization for books. Also, I guess don't piss off the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
I think that's a given.
Yep. They talk so much about the Raven Queen in monsters, in the Hexblade lore, I think in Warlocks in general, they bring up the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the Raven Queen. There's nothing in the currently out books in 5th edition that really dives into what the Raven Queen is.
Isn't there that new one coming out?
Does it
That
talk
has,
about the Raven Queen?
I thought, isn't Raven Queen literally in the title?
What is
The one it has the new druid, the mushroom druid.
No, that's the
No.
Magic the Gathering one.
Yeah. That's
Raven
Guide to Ravnica.
Ravenica, yeah, that's what it is.
Right.
It was
Is it
close.
You
Ravenica?
see how my simple mind got
that's
there.
how
Yeah, I do. I just wish I didn't. All right. That seems like a wrap.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Next time on Monsters and Multiclass.
Next week, we're going to discuss the Zaratan monster and the Cleric Ranger multi-class.